Hello and welcome. I hope you're well. I want to start with a little story, and this is a story about a man who was walking by some elephants, and he noticed that these huge, amazing creatures were tied to a fence with a rope, like a really just a short rope, not very strong, no cage, no chains. And these elephants could easily have actually just broken free, but they didn't. So this guy, this person saw the trainer of the elephants and he was intrigued and he said, how come these huge creatures choose to stay locked and chained to the ropes? And the trainer said, well, he said, since they were really young elephants, that's how we used to keep them locked, and that rope hasn't changed in all of these years, and yet they're conditioned now to believe that they still have to stay locked to the railings, to the fence. And the guy was amazed that they chose to do this, in the sense that they felt they had no choice. And what I really want to focus on this week is the whole idea of how we choose to come out of our own lockdown and the experience that we've all been through in these last few months. Something that none of us could have foreseen or known was coming. So you probably notice that there's sort of lots of different schools of thought. And I would say that quite often these schools of thought go into one of two areas. I would say that there are people who are overcautious, and then I would say there are people that are undercautious. And both of those actually would cause some kind of risk to themselves and to others. So, like so many things in life, what we want to do is get a balance. Like my little Rosie here is really good at getting and just knowing what's right for her. So what I would like to do is share with you three things that I think will really help you yourself to navigate the process of transition into this new phase that we're all in at the moment. So the first thing that I think is really useful to do is to take obviously all the necessary precautions to protect yourself, to wash your hands, to to wear a mask in public, especially indoors, to keep everything really sanitized. These are all, what you can do, and you know them. You certainly don't need me to hear them. Or for me to say them, because we hear it all the time. You turn on the radio and you're reminded consistently of these things, and they are really important. And they're as important as so many other things in our life that we do as part of our routine. So it could be, brushing your teeth in the morning and, taking your dog out for a walk, all of these things that we do to take care of ourselves and the people and the creatures that we love. So my advice is really to just allow these new practices, if you like, because, this time last year, there wasn't that same emphasis on, they certainly weren't wearing masks. I hope we were washing our hands, but definitely not to the same level as we all do now. And that is a good thing. So just allow it to become part of your routine, but no need to kind of obsess over it in the same way that you don't, talk a lot about having to brush your teeth. It's something you just do. And then to move on and to really sort of allow yourself to be free, almost like the elephant, so there's no need to keep the rope there so tight that you can go into the world, you can be with other people when all of those precautions are in place. The second thing I'd like to think is really worth highlighting is not to make assumptions of others, because again, there's, I don't know which school of thought you're coming from, and there are of course plenty of people who are in that nice place in the middle. But if you feel you are maybe overcautious or you're undercautious, that's where we can fall into the unfortunate habit, which is to judge others or to make assumptions. So for example, you could be in a shop and you see somebody not wearing a mask and it really, really irritates you. Whereas that person could have forgotten their mask, be absolutely mortified that they've done it, and really worried that they're not being responsible. So we just never really know what's going on behind what's going on in another person's life. Again, if you're under cautious and you think, my God, why is everybody, obsessing, wearing masks, etc. There's too much, fuss. Well, again, it's like you don't know where that person's coming from. They could be living with someone who is really vulnerable. So we've just got to keep as open a mind as we can and not fall into that really unhelpful habit to yourself, first and foremost, of making assumptions of other people. And the third thing I would say is, in the case of like when we wear a mask, what we're doing is we're really stopping the spread of the virus. And I would say that really, unfortunately, that fear in itself has been a huge pandemic in the last few months. So what I would say is, when you feel that you want to share something, if you are nervous or fearful yourself, or just even to talk about it and the fears of second waves, etc., is to maybe just like a kind of verbal mask, is that you stop spreading the fear, because that is really, really hard for so many people. People who have underlying anxiety are so triggered by these conversations, and we really owe it to them and to ourselves to just, find all the other things in the world that are still going on, to put our focus on them, to try to bring something light, cheerful, positive, just to doesn't even have to be, but just something that isn't obsessional or continually focused on the virus. So really helping people to stop the spread of fear, because fear in itself is actually so detrimental in terms of leaving us vulnerable to actually catching, whether it's the coronavirus, a cold, or any other kind of illness. We are actually much more likely and exposed to conditions when we are full of fear. It's incredibly bad for our immune system. It causes inflammation in our systems. And that's really worth remembering. Like, as much as you wash your hands, just wash the fear as much as you can from yourself, and certainly don't spread it to other people. So that is it. Thank you so much for watching. It's just been lovely to have you here, as always. So from me and Rosie, who has, as you can see, absolutely no fear, she's completely at peace and relaxed. And that's the best way for us all to be, as much as we can, while taking precautions. So thanks for watching. Lots of love. Bye.